Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rush Limbaugh.
Very much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That's very nice. Very, very nice. Hey, you know, that's a theme to our show tonight, the hustle. What we're going to explain to you tonight is the Clinton hustle. That is how they approach the United States, the people of the country, and get us ready to just accept this onslaught of socialism that is emanating from Washington and their administration. Now, before we get going tonight, we have some students here from Yale University. Would you people all stand up? I want to see how many... Look at that. There is hope for America, my friends, because they all cut class to be here. They have chosen... They have chosen to come to the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies for their education, meaning they're not attending classes at Yale, meaning there's hope for them. Welcome. We're awfully glad to have you here. There's an editorial in the Washington Post today. Can we see that, Chet? I want you to take a look at the Mrs. Clinton on the health plan. What's been happening up on Capitol Hill? There's been this endless fawning. There's been this, oh, you're so wonderful. Oh, my gosh, nobody has ever been better than you. Why, how could humanity have gotten this far, Mrs. Clinton, without you? I mean, oh, gee, oh, this is so wonderful. People are just going nuts. Now, it's understandable. I mean, she is the president's wife. In fact, you know, Rostenkowski the other day said someday that the president's going to be known as your husband. So rather than saying... From now on this show, if I can remember it, she'll be called, or he'll be called, the your husband. Hillary's husband is how we're going to refer to Bill Clinton. Well, people have been just mesmerized by her, but what has she been saying? There have been no details. You think you've gotten details, but you haven't. You've been getting a bunch of philosophical psychobabble. And it's been appalling to me that there hasn't been any opposition to it. And I thought I was the only one noticing it. I know there's some Republicans on Capitol Hill. Richard Armey is one, and Phil Gramm in the Senate. There may be 4 or 5 Republicans who are philosophically opposed to this, but for the most part, they're just getting on board because they're frightened. They are afraid that they're going to be accused of gridlock. They look at the polls. 58% of the people support health, universal coverage, and they're afraid to oppose it. And I think that that's frightening, because this is much more than health. This is about the advancing socialism and the nationalization of an entire industry. And I want to explain that in great detail tonight. Now, I brought this Washington Post editorial in to kind of show that there's some semblance of hope. Look at the last sentence in this editorial. With or without this week's testimony, the real question remains, what's going to be in it and how it's going to work. It's about time. Well, guess what, my friends? We are going to tell you what's in it tonight. I have discovered what's in it, some of what's in it. I'm going to tell you what's in it, and I'm going to tell you how it's going to work. And I guarantee you that many of you are going to be stunned, disappointed, and shocked. And then you're going to say, as you always do after watching this show, how come I haven't heard that on the evening? How come I haven't read about this in my newspaper? How come the mainstream media isn't telling me this? That's going to be your reaction. Now, before I launch into that, and it's 2 stages, the next segment of this show will be Clinton Hustle. This is a detailed explanation of their plan, a detailed explanation of their strategy. When you see this, you'll say, man, this Rush guy, he is really on the ball. He's got it. And then in our next segment, we'll give you some of the details of the plan. What do they always say about you? What do the critics of this show, my radio show, always say about you and about you in the studio audience? They say you're nothing but a bunch of mind-numbed robots. They say that you march lockstep behind me. As in this. They say that all you people do is just listen to what I say and then head out there and in lockstep and goosestep, you are simply parroting, echoing everything I say. I happen to know that that's not true. You know what the real truth is? The truth is that finally somebody's on radio and TV who says what you think. That's right. And you're sitting out there. Right. And you're sitting out there. You sit out there and you watch this show or you listen to my radio show and say, oh, right, there's somebody out there who thinks what I think. This program's inspiring thought. It is encouraging people to think for themselves, come to their own conclusions. If there's any marching in lockstep, it's on Capitol Hill with this health plan. Watch this. Watch this, folks. Take a look. Roll the tape, Chet.
I hope your experience here has been as pleasant as I found you a pleasant witness.
I want to say that I am impressed not just with the awareness that you have created on this program, but with the understanding that has begun.
You've done a superb job this morning of answering the questions, and we're enormously grateful to you for your presence here, and most importantly, for the
extraordinary job you've done, Mrs. Clinton.
All of us commend and praise you. I look forward to working with you.
I certainly agree with you that Mrs. Clinton has provided extraordinary leadership.
I'd like to applaud your efforts in this monumental task.
As a nation and as a people, we're more than lucky, but we're very blessed to have you lead in this effort.
Mrs. Clinton, let me join my colleagues in saying that I think you've done an outstanding job.
And the depth and substance of your responses and input on this subject has been a great benefit to this country, I believe.
And I'm absolutely certain that health care would not have the prominence it has now but for your personal involvement. And I think we're all grateful to you. You've been wonderful.
Somebody recommended today that maybe somebody offer you a sweatshirt that says, I survived. I think it ought to be, I flourished, because all week long you certainly have done that.
Well, you see what I mean? There's the marching in lockstep going on, and I submit to you that if these members of these committees that you just heard lauding Mrs. Clinton and praising her knew the details of this plan, there's no way they'd be treating her this way, other than out of courtesy. That's not what's going on, and if you stick with us the rest of the show, you'll find out exactly what the details are and how we've gotten to this point. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Whenever we want to use these cartoons, that came from the New Orleans Times-Picayune. When was that? Yesterday, September 21st. And we always had to call and get permission of the artiste. And this guy gave us permission, but he sure made sure that we knew that he hates this show. He told us, but he went ahead and granted us permission. It doesn't matter if they hate it or not. They let us use it. We got it in. Thank you very much. Now, the formula of the Clinton hustle. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take you through the steps. I've deciphered this. I've studied these people. I've watched these people. I've watched every move they've made since, actually before they were inaugurated, since the campaign. And I would like to, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 actual or 6 stages of the Clinton hustle. The first is the crisis. We've got this on screen so you can follow along with me. The crisis is created with days and days of hand-wringing on TV. The president goes on TV and wrings his hands, and the first lady and everybody goes, oh, what's wrong? We've got a terrible crisis, worst economy in the last 50 years. People are going to die. They're only a paycheck away from being homeless. They're only a pink slip away from having no health care. Oh, my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Then they come out with the absurd figures to exaggerate the crisis. There are 3 million homeless, 20 million homeless at the end of the decade. Oh, no, what are we going to do? 37 million uninsured. Oh, no, they're going to die. What are we going to do? And America goes, oh, what a country we are. We're terrible. We're mean. We're insensitive. People get sucked in. Then comes the whining of America. Yeah. The politics of sob story, the emotional soap opera anecdotes that touch your heart, grab your heartstrings, and give a big old tug, and they lock you in. Next, after this has been done, come trial balloons. Wacky leaks on how the crisis will be solved. As in healthcare, every week from February to, say, August, every week there was a new possibility. Well, we're not going to let you choose your doctor. Abortions will be covered. Why? We're going to make the employer pay everything. No, the employees are going to get taxed on their benefits. The American people end up shocked. They don't know what to expect. Every week is a new trial balloon. Then comes the way we're going to pay for it. It's free. It's inexpensive. And it's fair. It's not going to cost. It's painless. It's so easy. Then it's time to find the villain, the culprit on who we can lay off all the blame. Lobbyists, the rich, Reagan Bush, pharmaceuticals industries, doctors, insurance companies, anybody who makes $1 more than you do. They're all culprits. You've got to have villains, ladies and gentlemen. They've done all that. Are you following me so far? You see how, I mean, this is right on the way. Now let's go to the setup. The setup. First off, a highly promoted presidential speech. They tout this speech for months, weeks, and days in advance. The president has the most important speech of his career. It'll be before a joint session of Congress. This speech will change America forever. Yeah. America is at precipice. It's at a crisis. If we don't do something now, we may be alive tomorrow. We're in terrible shape. This speech will make or break the president. His whole presidency insists and resides on how he does with his speech, and so everybody tunes in. Ooh, I want to see the president die. I want to see the or I want to see the president win real big or whatever. Then, my friends, comes the sting. Do 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 do. Here comes the speech. The speech is the sting. It's a long, long speech, and in it, the promise to end the crisis. There are no specifics as to cost in the speech. There are no details at all in the speech. It's nothing but a blueprint. It's a Christmas wish list. It's if I could have anything I want and never have to pay for it. That's what's in the speech. And only a select few will pay. Those who benefited unfairly in the 80s. Those who worked harder than anybody else. Those who have more than you. Just a select few. Only 1% of the population will suffer from this. Maybe 4% tops. We're going to give subsidies to everybody who thinks they're going to get hurt. Nobody will get hurt except those who deserve to get hurt, and everybody who has more than you deserves to get hurt. The American people, because of our education system, they've been taught that this is what fairness is. Yeah. Fairness is taking from those who have more than you do because it's unfair. Even if they've got it because they worked hard, even if they earned it and achieved it in genuine ways, we got to take it from them because it's unfair that some should have more than the other. Then, the next day, the next couple of days, here come the polls. And the polls show all gain and no pain plays really well in Peoria. We're all going to benefit. America is going to be a socialist utopia. Everybody's going to be happy. There will be no misery anywhere. It ain't going to cost anybody anything. No pain. Boy, do they love it in Peoria. They love it everywhere. And then the newscasts. Jennings, Rather, Brokaw, Chung, whoever, add them up, shake them up, throw one out there all the same. America loves the plan. They go out and do man-on-the-street interviews. They do town meetings. Everybody who shows up loves the president. Standing ovations occur. This is the most caring, feeling president we've ever had. Meanwhile, on my radio show and in this audience, I can't find one person who likes it. I can't one caller who likes it. But they do. They find all these people who like it. Then, as happened during the budget deal, come the details. After all of this buildup and all of the promises of no pain, and only those who deserve to pay more will pay more, then details come out. We found that everything we've heard up till now is an out-and-out lie. People start to see what the real deal is, and the popularity begins to collapse. And then the real gimmick, the blame. The blame goes to the disinformation campaigns by right-wing radio talk shows and Rush Limbaugh. Uninformed people are simply trying to scare the American people. They don't know what they're talking about. They're putting out all this disinformation. People are calling Congress. Congress can't do its job. Whew, thank God. And they're blaming the American people for bottling up all the phones and all the switchboards. And the plan is fine. You're just getting a bunch of disinformation, they say. And then after this, it's on to the next thing, like building a car that gets 80 miles to the gallon, using the automobile companies in sort. It's never going to work. The car will be, as I said yesterday, CRAP, and nobody will ever want it. But every day, a new sting and a new hustle. This is how they do it. And I'm going to get a little head start on the details. Normally, the details nothing for 2 or 3 months. These highs after the president's speech and the media going bonkers over what a great revolutionary guy he is, how new and different and young and vigorous and energetic and all that psychobabble and poppycock. Then the details come out, and it's generally 2 to 3 months, as I said. Well, guess what? We're going to get a head start. We're going to give you some details about this health plan that you probably don't know next, right after this. Welcome back to Rush Limbaugh, the television show. There is a woman by the name of Elizabeth McCoy, and she's a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute. She called the office of Pennsylvania Senator Harris Wofford, asked for a copy of the plan. She got the blueprint that was sent to Congress, 239 pages. She read it. She said she ended up shaking her head. It's amazing what's in it. I have some of what's in it. Don't have time to give you all the salient things. Follow along. Under this plan, most Americans will not be able to hold their personal physician or buy the kind of insurance 77% of Americans now choose. You like your health care plan now? Too bad. You probably won't be able to hold on to it. You're going to have to sacrifice it and join one of these state alliances or cooperatives, and you'll be totally dependent on whatever deal they can negotiate for you. The goal, according to the plan, is to limit private health care spending. In other words, you want to go to the doctor and pay for it out of the back of your pocket, avoid the lines or whatever. They want to be able to eliminate that. It will be hard to buy additional insurance. You've got to live with whatever this state cooperative, which is going to be a monopoly, gives you. The plan will make it as difficult as possible, by intention, on purpose, for you to buy more standard package. And who knows what it's going to be? Nobody has any idea what standard package is going to be, but it's going to be less than most people have now. Seeing a specialist and paying for it out of pocket will be almost impossible. The Clinton proposal is designed to drive doctors out of private practice. Now stop for a minute and think about where you live. Ask yourself this question, especially those of you in Rio Linda. Where do you live? You live in the United States of America. That's right. And they are going to propose that doctors be driven out of private practice. Imagine if they tried this with any other industry. That would be next. I'm afraid it will be next. I'm afraid that's right. You know, see, this is not a solution to a problem. Liberalism never is. It's just the beginning of new problems. One more before a break. Price controls will make private practice unfeasible. A provider may not charge or collect from a patient a fee in excess of the fee schedule adopted by an alliance. That's price controls. That means there's going to be back alley MRIs, back alley appendectomies. There are going to be back alley operations of all time because people are not going to be forced to live under this iron curtain type of approach. We have even more deals, and we'll show you those next. Rush Limbaugh once again serving humanity, doing the job. You know, I wouldn't even be doing this if the dominant media was doing its job. I'm glad they're not. Gives me a reason here. 2 more points in this plan that I'd like to point out to you. One of the biggest surprises in this plan is who bears the cost of universal health coverage. This plan requires the states to create health alliance regions that are very much like election regions, districts. There's going to be gerrymandering in these things, and depending on the per capita cost of coverage in these regions, for example, people who live in a region with an urban area like a big city, their premiums are going to be higher because the costs in cities are much higher. You're going to have people fleeing the cities left and right to get out of these alliances. It's not going to be universal coverage in the sense that it's equally spread throughout because the costs are different elsewhere, and this is something that hasn't even been touched on. But this is the real heinous one. Read this with me. There is a provision here that says, suppose a state fails to establish its regional alliances on time, as this program makes. Or let's say the state fails to meet all federal requirements. They say there's no bureaucracy here. Federal requirements, what the hell is that? The federal government telling a state what to do. Somebody's got to administer that. If the state fails to do what the feds say, this plan empowers the Secretary of the Treasury to impose a payroll tax on all employers in the state And there's no limit on the amount that tax can be. Just by a fiat, they can raise taxes. They say it's not going to cost any more money. My friends, we need you to get on board with this. This is not utopia. This is an erosion. In fact, the pilfering of some of your most precious individual liberties and freedoms. We're going to be here every night helping you along with this stuff, but you're going to have to get on board with us. The plan is bad. See you at our next show. Bye-bye.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
Coming up on Q13 News 5:30, it's the busiest shopping time of the year, but could that be dangerous for you? At 5:30, we'll show you what malls are doing to make sure you're safe.
If you'd like to order a video cassette of Rush's TV show for only $24.95, just call Video Archives at 1-800-FOR-VIDEO. For a transcript, send $5 to Burroughs, Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039. Or call 1-800-777-TEXT.